Meow, I'm Huples cat. Now word for my sponsor.
You notice there's not been much going on.
Really, Joe?
On the 20th and the 31st of January, 1960, the Soviets successfully launched 2 additional ICBM test vehicles to extended range into the Pacific.
Humanity survived the missile gap, but will we survive the balloon gap? Or is it all just hot air? Stay tuned as we elevate the balloon gap to new heights.
Good evening, everyone. An unsettling symbol of foreign interference has defense officials on both sides of the border on alert tonight.
Unsettling?
This thing is up in the sky.
Posted on social media, there were all sorts of sightings over Billings, Montana.
I have no idea what it is. It's been there stationary for about the last 35 minutes.
Tonight, the Pentagon confirming it could be this, a giant Chinese spy balloon, reportedly the size of 3 buses, hovering over the northern U.S.
The United States government has detected and is tracking a high-altitude surveillance balloon that is over the continental United States right now.
This is all very well, but what about Canada?
Spotted not just in Montana, but also Canada. A warning went out to pilots to watch for an untethered balloon east of Saskatoon.
Elstow, Saskatchewan is in Canada and it's one of our prime military sites. The compromising of Elstow absolutely proves Chinese dominance in balloon technology.
The U.S. sent fighter jets and included NORAD to track and monitor the suspected spy balloon.
All joking aside, I really hope that isn't NORAD. The Western Alliance for many, many years has had proven and effective technology for destroying balloons on the ground. So any attempt by a ground-based Chinese spy balloon to infiltrate our areas and get intelligence about what we're doing, rather than just reading the internet like other people do, has been doomed to failure for decades. But by focusing so heavily on ground-based balloon defense, have we neglected the upper atmosphere attacks from balloons? Have we ceded the high ground to China? Will the balloon gap allow terrorists to destroy America again? Or even worse, allow a huge trading partner to continue to spy on us rather than just use their existing technology? The Biden administration in America is rapidly issuing every American an emergency kit so they can respond to any sort of balloon attack. In Canada, we have not been issued with similar defensive measures. While I have to admit it's highly unlikely that these emergency measures the Biden administration is providing for Americans to fight back in the event of a balloon attack from China would ever reach China, you have to fight against tyranny. You have to stand up and you have to use your balloons. Open carrying a balloon these days is the patriotic thing to do. Whilst there are huge, big, enormous plans to actually address the balloon gap threat, this is going to take decades and trillions upon trillions of dollars. So for now, in response to the balloon gap, America is being forced to rely on traditional American ingenuity and know-how. However, there is good news, very good news, from 2 areas. In the 1960s, and this film will show it, Britain actually repelled a balloon attack from an adversary. We think the actual attack was from within. We think it was actually a form of civil war, fought for quite some time, for decades in fact, using balloon technology. And recently the CIA released this photograph showing the state of art in Russia of their current ballooning technology. Truly, that's nothing we need to be worried about. The first trial balloon was floated and it was huge. It was eventually destroyed once the Americans figured out how to actually find the thing, and it was crushed.
We're checking Twitter on several different official. Well, I believe it just happened there. That was it. Live, raw, and unfiltered. It appears that China spy balloon has now been shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. You are taking a live look here, live, raw, and unfiltered, as that balloon appears to be heading downward after it has been shot down.
But now an equally impressive second wave seems to be upon us in North America.
It just looked like confetti and the rest of it just collapsed.
I'm fairly confident in saying that China's meteorological service is unhappy.
The state broadcaster read a government statement calling it a clear overreaction and a serious violation of international practice. The drama had been playing out all week.
Unimportant politicians are also unhappy.
The message embedded in this to the world is we can fly a balloon over airspace of the United States of America and they won't be able to do anything about it to stop us.
Okay, but why bother unless it was for a laugh? However, warhawks are absolutely delighted. Nothing like a balloon gap fear to stoke up more funding for the military-industrial complex. The warhawks are very happy.
The United States was not the only target of this broader program, which has violated the sovereignty of countries across 5 continents.
Not Antarctica, I understand that, but 5 of 6 of the remaining? Which continent has not been exposed to Chinese balloon spying, and why? Please answer in the comments below. Recently, the head of the nice and defensive organisation known as NATO said,
So we just have to be vigilant. We need to be aware of the constant risk of Chinese intelligence and then step up what we do to protect ourselves.
So we don't spy on them.
The Pentagon confirmed on Wednesday that 4 previous Chinese spy balloons flew over the U.S., but spokesman Brigadier General Patrick Ryder would not elaborate.
They over what you would call sensitive sites?
Again, I'm not going to. They were over sites that would be of interest to the Chinese, but I'm not going to go into the specifics, David.
That's not too late. Would President Biden be more open, eh?
So they invest in China. I said, who's going to invest in China if you are engaged in the same kind of deal? You notice there's not been much going on.
There you have it. The so-called leader of the free world tells us everything is fine.
Have relations now between the U.S. and China taken a big hit, frankly?
No.
But is it still fine now that the high-altitude fleet has attacked?
We have some new information developments on that suspected Chinese spy balloon. Commanders at NORAD say they do not believe that a second spy device actually flew over North America. The general in charge of NORAD, which is, of course, the North American Defense Initiative, General Glenn Van Herk, says intelligence from fighter jets and Canadian teams did not confirm a second balloon. The general, however, says he does believe the path of the suspected spy device traveled was purposely built to fly over portions of the United States and collect specific information.
The general was dead wrong, so how comes they haven't been fired? The only question in 2023 is how many more of these atrocious, terrible Chinese balloon attacks we have to endure before we nuke China. Of course, China says the first one was a weather balloon, and they know nothing of the other 4. However, there has been no evidence at all so far that the first balloon wasn't in fact a weather balloon. There is no evidence been given so far that in fact was a spy balloon. It was too dangerous to shoot a Mylar balloon down over Montana, so they shot it down over the ocean because it's dangerous and who knows what was on board it. So they sent the US Navy out without gloves, without masks, without goggles, without any protective gear at all, to gather the said Mylar balloon. And you can see from the photographs, it looks distinctly like a weather balloon. Could it have just been a weather balloon? We have to fix the balloon gap or our entire way of life is at risk. No more Walmarts, no more cheap stuff. We have to act now. It's been nothing but an odd and weird news week. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Toodles.
May I remind you again that the classification of this briefing is secret.
Get it, Wolfie? Hold on, I'm videoing Wolfie trying to get his treats. No, staring at me for them isn't how to do it. Do it properly. This has been the 2023 Hungry Wolfie Terrier production. I'm not using any balloons because I don't have them. They're an absolute nightmare for the environment and animals and have been for decades. And the fact that people use helium balloons and let them go for fun shows how disconnected they are from reality. Please stop that. Thus, all attempts to have ground-based spy balloons infiltrate our areas has failed. So all attempts by ground-based